This story started off with a FaceTime call to my mother. She called frantically asking what she could do to restore her deck to new. It was chipping and the paint was peeling and the stain was coming off, and so I did what any son would do. I raced over to her house to investigate for myself. After getting a closer look at the situation and scratching the paint and seeing how flaky and in poor condition it was, I thought to myself, how can we fix this? And that's when I came up with the idea. Dan with Sway Designs here. Stick around and I'll show you how I did it. Starting our restoration journey, I used a floor sander with some 40 grit. This was required to get all the loose and flaky paint off before we restain. If you skip this step, all of your hard work will come right off within a few weeks and months' time. So this is highly recommended that you take the time to sand the deck properly. A floor sander for the big areas, a little palm sander for the small areas, and even a paint scraper helped to get in between all the boards. Due to the age of this deck, some of the nails have popped up over time. Those were pulled with a number 56 Sure Grip nail puller. It is a slide hammer that slowly slams little jaws underneath the head of the nail to gently and carefully remove the nail without messing up the deck board. A new screw was put in its place. With all of our surface prep done, the next step was to blow off the deck and get it ready for its new coat of stain. The new stain that was going on the deck was the same color as the existing stain. It is Barn Red by Behr. This is a solid stain that we've chosen and have used over the years. The same process that we show here can be used on any new stain that you apply to your deck. What we're doing is we're rolling with a roller to apply the paint quickly, and then we're using a paintbrush to fill in all the gaps and to tip the paint. This gives the board a nice finished look, and if you need to touch it up later, you can just use a paintbrush. You don't have to use a roller and reduplicate the dimpled look. If you don't tip the paint and just leave it with the rolled finish, you will see all the tiny little air bubbles that the roller applies to the surface of the deck. This will be unsightly and is not recommended. Now, as you might notice, I'm currently the one with the roller. I'm standing. My father chose to be the tipper. He was on his hands and knees, and then he complained to me afterwards. So before anyone gives me any nasty comments about making my father get on his hands and knees to tip the paint, it has been said here first that he chose that job. He had the choice to be the guy standing. This technique works best with two painters. So if you're going to tackle this project at your own house, get a friend or a family member to give you a hand. Once you get a groove going, it goes down rather quickly. We covered the surface of this deck in about 30 minutes or so. With the top deck finished, we moved on to the bottom deck and applied the paint in the same exact fashion. Once again, I gave my father the option. He could have been the guy rolling. He chose to be on his hands and knees to be the guy tipping. I don't know why. Just to give you an idea of the age of this deck, it is about 35 years old. These techniques seen in this video have kept it nice all these years. With the cost of lumber skyrocketing these days, you too can keep your deck nice and fresh looking for over 35 years. And before you know it, the entire deck was painted and it was time to touch up the stairs. It's important to know that a heavy sanding, like I showed in the beginning of this video, is only required when the surface of the deck is heavily peeling or chipping. If the deck is relatively flat and the base layer of paint is still adhered well, you do not need to do this step every single time. If you liked what you saw in this video, please consider subscribing, and please give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.